Welcome, food travelers. I'm Simon.
And I'm Micah. Here we are today at Universal Studios.
So we ended up parking the car and we started walking down the famous Universal City Walk. At the City Walk, you'll find a whole bunch of different stores. You can get your candies, your memorabilia, or kind of your general Los Angeles items.
And as you make your way down the walk, you get to the famous Universal Studio Globe.
Yeah, this is a great spot for pictures, for all those Instagrammers, TikTokers. You can see there's a whole group of people, standing around the globe waiting to get their pictures taken.
Also a great spot for a Christmas family photo, huh?
Sure.
And after we got our videos and pictures here, we headed down to security, made our way through, make sure everything was good, and we made our way through to entrance.
Yeah, this is the famous red carpet, kind of your classic Hollywood welcoming. They'll lay down the red carpet to the gates.
Yeah, and as Universal Disneyland, they do a really good job with all the decorations, and since it's close to Halloween time, they've got everything up.
Yeah, we entered the gates and we're walking through the main entrance. We're up on the upper lot. Down below is the lower lot, so there's two sections. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about Universal Studios Hollywood is that the lower lot, it's a real live actual studio. So you actually have actors and actresses and all the crew members down below in the lower lot actually filming actual TVs or movie scenes, depending on what's in production that day.
Yeah, it's a very interesting experience watching every single lot or studio, I should say, with what's being recorded, and there is a tour that goes through and explains everything too.
Yeah, the tram tour is one of the most popular things here at the studio. It's definitely something that I always try to get on and ride. It is always changing because they have different production schedules and everything else. So as we made our way through, we headed actually directly towards the Harry Potter world. And as you can see, Harry Potter world is beautifully constructed. Nobody does it better than Universal. They're on equivalent levels as Disney in terms of building amusement parks that are just immersive and just takes you to another place.
Yeah, I think this was my first time here in Harry Potter world, and of course we had to head down to get our Butterbeer.
Yeah, that famous Harry Potter Butterbeer. All the times that I've actually been here, this is not my first time to Universal Studios, and I knew I really wanted to get Butterbeer right away, so we actually made our first beeline from the entrance down here to go grab that Butterbeer.
And on my first try on the Butterbeer, I got the regular Butterbeer. I know they have two different options. They have the regular one, and they have the frozen one.
Yeah, the frozen one, or they call it a slush, I believe. I have that one. I actually prefer that one over the regular version. To me, at least, there's just a slight different taste to it. I just think the slush version has just a slightly better taste to it.
And as the day progressed, I actually came back to the Butterbeer cart and got a slush version just so I could compare the difference. It was a really hot day, so I'm glad I had the slush option as well. I actually prefer the regular version over the slush. I thought it was a little bit more creamy to me, since the slush does have a little bit more ice in it, so it's blended. I felt like that one was not as sweet.
The one thing I do like about the Butterbeer, to me, it reminds me of kind of like the best version of a cream soda. So if you're not sure how it tastes, that's the best I would say describes the flavor of Butterbeer. It's essentially just a really good cream soda, and especially because they do have that cream topping, and I think that kind of separates this from other cream sodas and what makes it so good.
Yeah, that's a great description, Simon. I think that accurately describes it. If it's something you've never tried before, head on down to Harry Potter World and get yourself a Butterbeer. Head over to 3 Broomsticks for lunch.
Yeah, and this is, as usual, a well-themed restaurant that that pretty much looks authentically like a restaurant you would find in Harry Potter.
Yeah, I really like the decorations and how they created the whole restaurant theming into a scene from the movie. For me, I had the Burt Bangers and mash, and also the Butterbeer ice cream.
Yeah, and for me, I actually had the shepherd's pie. That's actually it's a ground beef and vegetables crowned with potatoes, and they serve that with a fresh salad. I actually had the raspberry vinaigrette along with it. The restaurant itself is quite large. There's lots of interior seating space, and we actually ended up sitting outside, which had a lot of additional seating. The time that we were at Universal actually wasn't too busy. I think with everything going on, there wasn't that many people in attendance. There was a good amount, but it wasn't how you would typically see Universal, where it would just be jammed packed and you kind of feel shoulder to shoulder. Over here, there's definitely, you can tell there's a lot more space, which has its good and its bads in terms of atmosphere wise.
I personally liked how there was more space, so it was really easy to find a table to sit on. You didn't have to wait for anybody. With this banger and mash, it's a grilled English sausage with mashed potatoes and gravy. I thought they did a pretty good job with the sausage. I have no complaints. I actually really appreciate how Universal has more food dishes rather than just treats.
Yeah, I agree. It's I like that they offer more substantial foods in terms of, not just a hot dog or a hamburger, and a little different, something to choose for, not your typical amusement park fare.
Yeah, this Butterbeer ice cream is no different from just a drink. It's just more frozen. But I think if you were in Harry Potter Land, I would definitely just recommend getting the Butterbeer over the ice cream.
So after lunch, we headed over to get the tram tour. It's one of my favorite rides here at Universal. It's just so unique, especially Universal Studios Hollywood. It's one of those things, especially on a hot day, it's so nice to be able to sit down and for 45 to an hour kind of go through the backlot studios and see all these things, especially historically and presently, about all the films and television that is going on.
Yeah, for this Universal Studio tram tour, I remember going through this ride ever since I was a little kid when my parents took me here. This ride has been going on forever.
Yeah, I remember when I was young, I was actually on this tram tour, and at that time there was a Frankenstein monster. He actually ended up standing behind me. I didn't notice, and he kind of gave me a headbutt when I was little, and I turned around and saw him. It was exciting. I didn't freak out, which was cool, because I think I was 6 or 7 at the time.
And this first ride is the famous King Kong ride. I remember when I was a kid, this ride, you actually see the physical King Kong just shaking the tram and everything. But I think with technology now, with the 3D or 4D that they had put on those glasses, it was way more immersive now.
Yeah, I remember that as well. There was this big animatronic King Kong that used to shake a bridge that you were on in New York. And now they've created this kind of 360 screen where on both sides you kind of see all this action occurring and kind of takes you into a story and you kind of feel a part of it. It's really great. It's something that you definitely have to ride and something definitely memorable.
And after that King Kong ride, we headed down this park where they just showed all the different vehicles used in Back to the Future, vehicles from like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, it's kind of their famous car lot, kind of showcasing all these famous cars, and you can see even Jurassic Park, the little ride vehicle that was in that Jurassic World movie. And so that's one of the nice things. You kind of just take this easy stroll through the back lot, and you get to see all these different props. And here you can see that we're at the Jaws section, and we don't want to spoil too much, but it's just very nice pacing in terms of, you're in that fast-paced amusement park kind of feel, and then you get to sit kind of back, relax, and watch a lot of things happen around you.
And I think for that Jaws just to mention that one again, I think they're very consistent with it. I don't think very much has changed through the years.
And as you can just see there, that was part of the Psycho, and that doesn't get to happen too often. And right now, they actually do have an actor portraying Norman Bates from the Psycho movie, and so that was a nice little addition on this tour that we were able to get on.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice touch having him act and kind of chase us down.
And then you can see kind of the magic of Hollywood, where you get the little facades that have all the different stages they have in terms of filming, and kind of the shortcuts that you see that once you watch the movie or the television show, it feels like it's real, but then you see kind of the tricks of the trade for the industry.
And in this last ride that we were taken down to, it is the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, this ride, similar to the King Kong one, is kind of that 360 screen, and it kind of takes you along this adventure with the crew from the Fast and Furious movies. And so, you're shaking and you're going through and watching all the action as it occurs right by you. Very fun. I enjoy this one very, very much.
Yeah, I thought this was a great one. I think it's a new one too, right, Simon? I don't remember ever going on this one.
Yeah, I believe this is one of the newer rides that's associated with the tram tour. That's definitely a great addition.
Yeah, this one I think is a pretty long one too. I remember there's like several sections that they brought us through before we went down the chase.
Yeah, it's definitely an action-packed. I remember the older version of the Fast and Furious ride section, and it was a couple of cars, kind of stunt cars that kind of spun around and danced while you were kind of sitting around them. And so this is definitely a change of pace, much more immersive, much more exciting, and you can see a lot of people enjoying going through it.
And just to mention again, this one is another 3 or 4D type style, so you do have to put on the glasses, and the tour guide will mention when to put it on and when to take it off. And with Universal, I think they did a really good job giving you a heads up before entering.
Yeah, and something I wanted to note is the tour guides. Tour guides are always great. They're very interactive with the people on the tram and going through questions and providing answers to certain things. A great tour.
And after that ride, we headed over down to the Simpsons area. We went to the Lard Lad Donuts, famous for their pink donuts, as you saw in Simpsons.
Yeah, that one is also one of those famous Instagram shots. If you are an Instagrammer or social media person, you'll see this donut taken quite a lot. It's very famous, and one of the things that, for me, actually was the first time I've actually tried this donut, which was surprising. I don't know why I didn't try it before, but I really, really enjoyed this donut.
Yeah, I'm a huge donut fan. Everywhere I go, I always try to get a donut. I thought this donut was done really, really well. It was, even though it was massive in size, but I thought it was so light and so fluffy. It wasn't overly sweet. For its size, I thought it was just the right amount.
Then we worked our way over to the newest ride, I believe, at Universal, and that was the Pets.
Life of a Pet.
Life of a Pets, yeah.
This one is a really quick ride. They do have, it's kind of like a virtual ride. You do walk through the house first before you enter the ride.
Yeah, the sit-down portion. I think this is a great ride for especially kids. I think they'll really, really enjoy this ride. It's something, for me at least personally, I'm happy I did it one time, but I always kind of want more of that action, fast-paced. But definitely, if you're here with family, this is a great ride to go on.
And after that ride, we headed down to Minion's Café. I think we only had a couple things here. I had the Felonious Float, which is a raspberry icy with some banana frozen yogurt and whipped cream.
Yeah, and as you can see, that only half of the restaurant was actually open. One of the effects of not having a full park like you usually would.
And then Simon here had the Minions cookie.
Yeah, I had the Minion's cookie. It was good. Similar to most, I think, amusement park desserts, it's always usually on the sweeter side. So, for me, since it was sweet, I had to take my time in terms of going through and taking my bites just so I didn't get that sugar overload.
The Felonious float does include that straw, so it is something that you can bring home.
And here's a shot of the lower lot, and as you can see that kind of green section there, that is the new Nintendo Land that they are building, and I am extremely excited. I can't wait until they finish that because I want to go back to Nintendo Land and see what's there.
And after that, we headed over to the Transformers 3D ride.
Yeah, I remember back in the past, used to be where the back draft lot used to be, and I remember that ride or that attraction. It was really fun, as well as there was a movie back then called Backdraft, and it was about firefighters, and I remember enjoying that attraction as well.
I don't really remember that one, but this Transformer ride is very, very actionable. If you do like action movies and Transformers in general, this is a really, really good ride to go on.
Yeah, definitely. You can see you're kind of going back and forth, moving around everywhere on the track, and you're seeing all these different scenes and pretty much encountering all the different Transformers as you're going through. Very fun, very fast-paced, lots to see, and lots of things happening around you.
Yeah, this one is very, very fast-paced. It does move and whip around a lot, so if you do have a back neck, you might feel a little bit of whiplash there.
Yeah, just to make sure that you can be able to handle that and it won't get hurt going through it. But very fun ride. Recommend definitely going on this one.
Yeah, one of my favorites too. After that, we had headed over here to Isla New Bar. I think this was like the longest wait I've ever had to wait for a drink. I think the line here was way longer than any of the rides we went on in Universal.
Yeah, I think at least a half-hour wait. Could have been longer, but definitely a lot of the adults who were 21 and over definitely were here to grab an alcoholic drink.
And here I had the Tiki Thai with the etched can here, and it's a pineapple rum, dark rum, Florida white rum, and passion fruit.
And for me, I actually had the Birds of Paradise, which had pretty much the same things: the passion fruit rum, the Florida Cana white rum, the guava nectar, passion fruit puree, lime juice, and the orgeat. The drinks really were good. The only thing I wish there were a little bit more alcohol. They were light on the alcohol, so when you kind of drink it, you didn't really notice the rum was there.
It definitely felt like we got ripped off on that. You waited so long just for alcohol, and then you just felt like you were just drinking juice.
And to wrap up the show, here are our notables for Universal Studios. Our very first notable is the Butterbeer from Harry Potter World. A great cold treat. Always wonderful to have it while it's a hot day. The two versions, you have the regular and you have the slush versions. As mentioned before, probably the best tasting cream soda you can have, and that's the best comparison that I could think of. And what makes it stick out is that the cream that's on top that adds the creaminess to the Butterbeer, and that's what makes it great.
And for our second notable, here is the Lard Lad Donut from The Simpsons. This pink famous donut is very, very good. It's only $9. It's humongous in size. I really enjoy this donut. It's not oily. It has a really nice chew to it. I thought they did an amazing job making this donut. It's much better than many donut shops who make a pink sprinkle donut.
The final notable is the iconic and famous Universal Studios Hollywood Tram Tour. And with this one, pretty much the entire ride was the notable. It's enjoyable. I loved seeing the evolution of, at least when I was a kid and riding on it, to where it is now, and hopefully in the future what it becomes, which is just going to be probably even greater. Definitely something where they've brought much more immersion into the ride. Definitely something not to miss, and something that to kind of break your day and give you a more relaxed pacing to your trip to Universal Studios Hollywood. Recommend definitely going on there, because a trip to Universal Studios Hollywood without going on the tram ride kind of feels like an incomplete trip. If If you've enjoyed the content you've seen, don't forget to support the channel and hit like and subscribe. And if you want to see additional pictures of food and our travels, go over to our Instagram page and follow us there. And thanks for watching.